Hello and welcome back to Lois and Morgana Davidson Art. Today I'm going to be showing you how I painted this ink and watercolour line and wash painting of winter birch trees. They're silver birches with this really attractive mottled bark, and by doing the line work in ink first we make the painting itself a much more straightforward process. But just before I get into the demo, just a quick reminder that my book, Landscapes in Watercolour, Techniques and Tutorials for the Complete Beginner, is available to purchase from all good bookstores. I'll leave a couple of links in the description below, and keep an eye out because we're very close to starting to promote our new book, Flowers in Watercolour, which is due to be released in the UK on the 14th of October. So here is the line work done in waterproof black fine liners. You can pause the video here or take a screenshot if you want to refer to it for later. But I hope you can see that where I've drawn in the birch tree trunks and some of the larger branches, I have covered them, painted them over with masking fluid. That will protect the silver birch bark so that I can freely paint the background. I'm going to be using the wet in wet method, and so I'm using my 1.5 inch mottler brush to wet the page all over with clean water. I'm using Milford cold pressed watercolour paper. It's taped to my board with ordinary decorator's masking tape, and my board's at an angle of about 20 degrees, so gravity will help with the flow of paint. I've just painted a little bit of yellow ochre across the middle to give some glow to the sky, and this is a mixture of indigo and sepia, which gives me this sort of greyish brown. And I'm painting a variegated wash with these colours so I get a nice glow in this grey sky. I've dipped into really rich, quite creamy consistency sepia and indigo now, and while the paper's still damp, I'm putting in my distant tree line or hedgerow, just varying up the size and shapes of the trees along that distance, going behind the masked out birch trees, just suggesting that distant hedgerow. I'm now going to mix up some lavender, and I'm going to use the lavender to paint the snow across the foreground. It sort of looks a lot brighter now, so using a bit of water I can thin it out so it's a nice pale, just a subtle hint of light reflecting on the snow, and it just gives it that really sort of lovely look as if it's the snow sort of catching the light, but areas of it are still in shadow. So putting some darker shadow beneath the trees using the indigo and sepia again. And I applied that wash with my 3/4 inch flat brush. This is my size 5 palette knife, and while the distant hedgerow is still damp and the trees, I'm going to just scrape in the suggestion of tree trunks and branches through that rich paint. You can see scraping back to the white paper, and it's giving me this really nice loose impression of a tree line. I can maybe put a few sort of marks elsewhere behind the trees. Maybe scrape through some of that dark paint underneath just to add a bit of interest to the ground beneath the trees. But I want to keep the area quite simple, so it's just the bark of the silver birches is the star against this beautiful pristine snow. Just using the tips of the brush just to create that suggestion of something and nothing beneath the trees. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to lay the board flat and leave it to dry and see how it looks once it's dry. And here it is, it's dry, and I'm not too happy with the sky, so I'm going to do something that I rarely do, and that is paint the sky twice. It's fully dry, and so I'm just going to very gently and quickly, lightly wet the sky area with clean water, not too much, not disturbing the layer of paint underneath. And I'm now going to add some lavender to the sky. With that lovely lavender snow, I think I need a glow of that snow reflected in the sky somewhat. So I'm just painting a second sky layer here over my existing sort of browns and greys and the golden glow, working around the golden glow to make sure that I still keep that. But making sure as well that I get that little bit of lavender, that hint of blue in the sky that makes for a harmonious painting. And now I'm going to leave this second sky wash to dry completely. And here's the lavender in the sky, which works harmoniously with the lavender in the snow. I've removed the masking fluid from the painting, and now I'm going to proceed to paint the silver birch bark. I'm going to use a small size 3 round brush, and I'm going to paint the shadow side of these trees using a mixture of lavender, ultramarine blue and a bit of indigo. It's quite a sort of light to mid value paint, not too dark, and I'm just running it down the side of each of the trees, and I'll work on all the trees in the same way. So this sort of desaturated blue shadow colour, and then I'm going to drop some darker sepia into the left side to deepen the shadow in places and to colour the bark a little, and then finish off with a little touch of Payne's grey here and there. I've sped the footage up because this can be quite a slow process, but I think you'll get the idea quite easily. It's quite a simple process, just working from one side to the other. I'm right-handed, so I work from left to right, but if you're left-handed, it's probably best to work from left to right to avoid smudging. If you find that you go on a little bit too dark, or if you cover up a bit too much of the silver birch bark, the lighter part, you just dab it off with a tissue while it's still damp. And here is the process completed, because it was exactly the same process. And I hope you can see how the line work, the markings that I put in the line work stage are showing nicely through the transparent watercolour paint, and it's really giving me quite easily the effects of birch bark. So drawing them in first made a huge difference to this painting. All I'm having to do to the trees now is just work on the shadows. So I'm sort of just tweaking this, working on a few extra bits here and there, a few darks where the trunks are behind other parts of the trees. Keeping an eye on it and just making sure there's just enough white highlights to stand out nicely. And of course I can make those highlights stand out even more if my low lights or my darkest tonal values on the trees are sort of contrasting well with the lighter values. Well, that's it. I'm happy with this. I think that experiment has worked out okay. So I'm going to remove the tape and have a look and see how it looks with its clean white border and in a slightly better light. And I'm really pleased that I decided to go in a second time with the sky and add the lavender. If you're going to try something similar to this at home, I'd suggest when you first put the sky wash in that you include lavender along with the yellow ochre and the mixture of sepia and indigo. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. Do you like the idea of using line work to create the birch trees and the markings on the silver birch bark? Or how would you tackle this painting? Many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then please click on the thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing to our channel if you haven't already. It's free to do and it really does help with our reach. And many thanks to everybody that supports our channel on Patreon. We really do appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you again soon. Take care and happy painting. Bye.